So good morning one and all, and today we are discussing what exactly the present pandemic situation is there. So how that education system is facing the problem, and that is the title we are specifying: online class, virtual class, or we can call it as e-learning. And as I given in the code, communication technology connects and integrate virtually. Obviously, the term virtually plays an important role in the present trend because everyone is connected virtually. So due to that situation, the virtually we are going to be leading the life, and virtually we are going to be adopting to the life, and virtually we are going to be communicating in all the places, right? And today I'll welcome you all for the session, and myself is Chetan. I am working as an associate professor and research scholar in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, right? And what are the contents we are discussing? The presentation content includes basically that introduction related to learning and education, its types and different factors and types of education, where the benefits connected with the regular education linked with online education, vice versa. And what is the basic conclusion we are going to be coming up with this kind of teaching and learning and present scenario what we are going to be facing, and online learning and different types of online learning, e-learning types, what are the requirements should be there if you're planning to go for online learning, and where we can apply the scopes and advantages and disadvantages, and finally final technical, what exactly the tools or software or platforms that are available in order to conduct online classes, right? Now, so since the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted the normal lifestyle of all the user in the globe, so everyone is going to be restricted, everyone is going to be confined. So I think it is completely, the real education is entirely changed to virtual learning, virtual method of learning, right? And again, all the universities and colleges are putting some effort and to bring that education back to the normal, but unfortunately it will take some time. As of now, everyone is dependent on the learning system through online learning, that is an virtual learning, and all the students and all the faculties are facing the problem and trouble. So to go for online learning situation, especially in the rural side, it is a difficult task in order to go with an online learning classes, and without any type of disturb to complete the education system is completely difficult in the present era. But by keeping all the things, we are going to be facing problems what exactly that presently. So we are shifting to education that is an online learning, right? And what is the main problem that we are going to be facing online learning, and which type of learning is suitable, and which type of learning is a benefit, which type of learning is efficient. So by seeing in the diagram, so learning, education, objectives and outcomes, right? So it will clearly specify, so to learn something and to learn what the things that is available, and to education the particular thing, so what are the object and what are the particular outcome is going to be generated, means learning is always important. So learning is a day-to-day activity, and we can learn it from any person, and we can learn it from any different sources. But when it comes to education, so it requires some manpower. So that is nothing but a teacher, that is nothing but a faculty, right? So learning can be taken in anywhere, and learning is not going to be structured, proper structure will not go be there. But when it comes to education, education is a proper structure. If you take your school education, it starts with your pre-kg and nursery, then you will be shifting with the standards first to 10th standard, then again it will be connected to the PU level, then again it will be connected to degree level, then again it is connected to masters. Like that, education is a step-by-step process, but learning is not like that. And learning, you can learn it from any person, and learning is having a different sources, right? That is the process of your learning. And nextly, when it comes to objectives, right? So when you plan to go for learning, we should keep some objectives, we should have some objectives. So objectives, we can call it as some goals. Objectives is called it as some way how we can reach the particular destination, right? And both learning and objective integrated give some outcomes, so that is nothing but your actual result, right? So whenever you are having the learning and education that conform to particular objectives, and again that is going to be linked to this particular outcome. That's why in the many scenarios we are coming across with the term, we should always go for learning based outcome. Means the learning should be effective, the learning should be effective, and that learning should contain some technical aspect, that learning should contain a logical aspect. Means learning is a set, but education will act as a subset, right? And sometimes we'll be calling learning is a superset, education is a subset, and learning is an universe, education comes within that, right? And both integrate together, so it will define some objective, it will give some outcome, that is nothing but your final result. So this diagram gives what exactly that education system, and how that education real time will be there, and now how we are going to be shifting to an online learning. So but both is having an advantage and disadvantages. Again, it depends on the restriction of an age. So it's not possible for all the individual to go for online education. So in the early days, in the previously, online educations will be there due to some information is not available in the particular states or particular university. Hence we are shifting to foreign university, and hence we are going to be linked with the abroad university, and then we are going to be learning as a distance education, right? So distance educations will be calling it as a part time, and only those who are working, they are going to be taking distance education, and through that online also they'll be taking some informations, they'll be taking some courses. But now due to that particular pandemic situation, everyone is addicted, everyone is going to be shifting. So that's why we call it as a learning and education. But even though if we take a real education or online education or e-learning, both will have its own weightages, both will have their own advantages, both will having their own disadvantages, right? So this diagram gives, so how that correlations will be there, how that learning education and both brings to some objective, and finally how we can see the outcomes. Then outcome is depends on individual. Outcome in the learning, it depends on the variety of field. So different variants of fields are there. So if I take a medical field education, again it is restricted to medical. If I take engineering field, again it is restricted to engineering. If I take some economics based application field, again it is different. If I take some geographical field, again it is different, right? But outcome will be there. So if I take any type of education, outcome will be there, and again it depends on individual, right? And next we go for the introduction. What is an education and learning with a definition? So as it is given, the both learning and education has a great influence of an individual. That is correct, obviously. So learning and education is having some great influence, and again it depends on individual. It depends on how individual is going to be taking as a part, right? And nextly, what is a definition for education? Education is a process of imparting the knowledge, value, skills, and attitudes which can be beneficial to an individual, right? As it is given, so if you take education, you need to incorporate or impart some knowledge, and that contains some values, policies, ethics, skills, attitudes, and again it will also contain discipline, behavior, a confidence level. Everything will be there, right? So that we'll call it as an education. That comes with your basic education, starts with your nursery, then again school level, and again it is going to be communicating, and again it is going to be successively incremental manner, right? And learning process, what is learning? Learning is the process of adopting the knowledge, values, and skills. So as you can see it, knowledge should be there for education, again it should be there for learning. Value should be there, again it is there for learning. And skill should be there again. But attitudes, behavior, discipline, everything, it is going to be depends on the environment, means external factors. Sometimes we'll be considering the parameters, what are the parameters should be there, right? So based on that, we're going to be categorizing what exactly that education and learning. But both are one-to-one correlation, both are correlated. Next, types of learning. So what are the different types of learnings are available? Again I told, so learning is not restricted, it is an universal. Anyone can define the learning, anyone can categorize the learning. But specifically, if you consider some scenarios, we'll be categorizing based on the factors, or we'll be categorizing based on some hierarchical view. So learning is going to be continuated, and learning is going to be implemented in different aspects, right? And first thing, learning is not a classroom related activity. Yes, exactly. Because as I told, it's an universal. Learning can be anything. You can learn the two-wheeler outside the environment within a not class, and you can learn the four-wheeler vehicle driving again outside the environment. It is not within a class. If you want to learn some courses, you can learn it outside the college or environment. It is not within a class. Means learning is not restricted to a specific feature, it's not restricted to specific environment. It is not a classroom activity, right? As an individual, any person can learn anything. As I told, it's a day-to-day activity. So day-to-day activity, one or the other way, we learning different thing. We can learn it from different persons, we can learn it from different environment, we can learn it from different individuals, right? And again, it's a day-to-day activity. Now we're going to be categorize our factors in different ways depending on acquiring the knowledge. Because if you want to gain some knowledge, if you want to learn something from the medical person, then you'll be taking the information from the medical user. If you want to learn some technical information, then you'll be consulting some computer science engineer or electronics engineer or mechanical or civil or so on. Means you can get the knowledge, you can acquire the knowledge, depends on the way where exactly you need to enhance your skills, to improve your skills. That's why it is called it as way of acquiring the knowledge, right? And depending on number of individuals, how many individuals will be there. So if I consider a team, so team consists of four members. Each person is having their own experience. Each person learned in different manner. So based on number of individuals, we can learn the data. so we can get the information or we can fetch the information. So again, that also matters. And depending on type of activity, so very importantly, which type of activity you're involved, which type of activity you verified, so that also plays an important role. So based on this, we can learn the different things and different applications and different systems. Next, factors influencing learning, right? What are the factors that comes into picture? What are the factors that influences your learning process, right? And firstly, it is represented in an arrow-based application, and then again it is a single or unidirectional diagram representation. Individual differences of learners, where exactly individual differences will be there. So if I consider a student in a college or in an institute or in a school or in an industry, that student importance is entirely different. The student way in which they're learning is entirely different. Each one is having the different personality, right? Individual differences will be there while learning the thing. So assume one student is learning one question paper with a particular solution within a 1 day, but one student is taking the same question paper with the solution is within a 3 days or within a 1 week. That depends on individuality, right? And teacher enthusiasm in classroom learning, right? What exactly teacher enthusiasm? Because if I consider learning, it is an universe, but if I consider education, it starts with the teachers. It starts with the teachers from a nursery. So their input, their motivation makes the learning process active, makes the learning process important very easily, right? Next, environment and other factors, as I told. So every information or every data we cannot get information within a college or within a class. It is not an activity that is carried out within a rooms. So it is an outside environment. The factors also influence outside environment. So that is one of the factors that influences your learning. Next, types of education. What are the different types of education that are available? So when it comes to types of education, again, the education, it depends on the individual. Education depends on how individual is involved and how individual is going to gain the knowledge. But categorization comes, we are going to be divided into two types. One is a regular or offline education, and next one is your online education. So what is the difference between a regular and as well as offline or online education? Comes Once it comes with the regular education. So regular education means is basically what the education that we are seen before. So before the pandemic situation, so we are having regular education. So in that regular education, the face to face communication with the personal contact. So it is simple example, you can take the school, colleges and all the institutions what they are running. It is a face to face communication, that's a real time communication, that is called it as a real education, or we can call it regular education. And again, if it comes to regular education, the doubts, the questionnaires or questions and extra information can be gained and asked easily because it's a real-time interaction. So you can sort it and you can clear it up within the same environment. So there is no need of wasting of time, there is no need of any requirements and everything. And the education is completed with a less duration, as 100% it is a valid one. Means you get information instantly, continuously. So specific informations you can gain it in a real time. But when it comes to online education, there is no face-to-face communication with a personal contact, and it's very difficult to know the doubts and questions that is going to be arise with a particular person, because we are not interacting it, we are not physically viewing the students. I mean, sometimes by seeing the their expression, we will identifying it, and the faculties or teacher is going to be changing the mindset to make students understandable better. But in virtual or if you take a particular online education, it is a trend, it is a bit difficult to identify and to understand their psychology and whether the students are following the data. But somehow it is a difficult, but inevitably the situation is like that, so we have to go for online education. So there is an option. And again, if in case if everything is terminate or ends up, so again we're going to be shift back to our regular education. But even though we'll be learning the tools and technologies irrespective of the domain, irrespective of the teaching field, so everyone is learning the process. But those who are having in the technical, so I think it is going to be same, because they are regularly they are using it in the IT field or in a colleges or in some university to conduct the seminar, webinars, conferences and all things. But for people who those who are not having these options, they are going to be become a new concept and they're going to be learning in a different way, right? And the completion of education takes more duration, because here we are not going to be communicating regularly, so that's why it will take some more time. So to complete the knowledge or to complete the information or to gain everything, that is going to be rendered through online. So that is a correlation and difference between regular education and online education. Next, what are the benefits of online education over regular education? So if we take the regular education, it is an easy, because by sitting in any location, anywhere, anytime, you can gain the knowledge. So that is time consumption. You cannot travel, so no need of traveling from one location to another. And again, it's less expensive. As I told, there is no traveling. If you are staying in different region, you can attend it only through your requirements. What are the online softwares are there, online platforms are there, through that you can going to be attend the classes. Then mixed classes can gain on any time, means sometimes you can collaborate with the different classes. So at a time you're going to be gain a different knowledges with a different student, and there is no timings constraint. So you can take the best example, YouTube applications. So if you have some doubts, you can ping with them text over there, and you'll get the information anytime. There is no time constraint, and can get more explanations. So you have an options to go for different explanations. That is one of the benefit of your online education. But when it comes to regular education, knowledge is gained in particular center. Means if you want to gain a knowledge in a particular center, that's a centralized system. So in simple term, we can call regular education or real education is a centralized method, but online education is a distributed. You can learn it in any manner, and it's a bit costly because you will be taking the regular education. Means the college wise the donations will be there, and the way they are entering the software, and which type of software they are using for attending the classes, and to take up the assignments, to take up the test, and to display the results. How everything is going to be converting as a software approach, right? And mixed classes are difficult to get. So if I take the regular education, so it is not like that. So I cannot combine two different branches or two different semesters at a time, because it will be confusion. But if I take online education, you can impart it. So you can take different students together, and you can convey the messages for a different branches of students as a multidisciplinary, right? And regular education means it's always going to be conducted within perfect time. So perfect time should be there. And again, in the regular education, explanations is minimum, because everyone is going to easily catch the data. Students can easily concentrate the data, right? That the conclusion for both education and training on the learning process, both the system is having their own benefits and drawbacks will be there. But especially in the field of education, so we cannot tell, so both is having advantage or both is having a disadvantages. So both is having their own advantages and disadvantages. Again, that depends on user requirements and their convenience and their accessibility, their suitability, and their availability. It's like that we cannot restrict which education is the best and which education is not the best. But both education and learning process is important, or we can call online learning or real learning. Both is going to be plays an important role. Next, then we go for explicitly online learning, because we are not gaining more information, or we are not going to adding the more information, and we are not going to be getting any information. Then we have an option with an online learning. Means you can get the data anytime. It's easily we can access the data anytime. So if I take the real education system, if you miss a class one day, then you need to check with your faculty or a teacher, and you need to interact with your friend. Then you need to collect the notes or data. But if you're locating in a far distance, again it's too difficult. You need to collect it by next day itself. But if you consider an online learning, if you even if you miss a class, even if you're not available at a particular schedule, they are going to be added, you can view it later, right? So even different softwares are available to pop up or give a notification to alert some messages at what time you have a class, and what time you need to submit your assignments, and what time you need to submit your different materials for a different staff based on the subject code and name. All the information is available, right? So now just going for online learning, the non-existence of a physical classroom, a flexible schedule, and reduced personal interaction, 100%, right? So physical classroom is not available, it's a non-existence. And a flexible schedule, you can schedule at any time. If I'm okay at 7 o'clock early morning, again you can take it. And even in case if you're not able to attend it due to some network issues, or due to some compatibility of mobile or a platform or a software, you can view it in a different time. And reduce personal interaction, 100%. So personal interactions will not be there. Sometime it will be advantage, and sometime it will be disadvantages, right? So that is nothing but your reduced personal interaction. Online education is a type of distance learning. So as I told, so previously, earlier, online education is considered as a distance learning. So part-time educations will be there. Those who are working, they'll be taking as an evening courses or a crash courses, like that it will be there. But online education is a type of distance learning, taking the courses without attending a school or university. As I told, they'll be working as a some job, and again they can not attend the schools or colleges. They can take it as a distance learning. So according to the survey, online learning is a learning that is undertaken on a computer by means of internet. So very important. So the survey, what it is specifying, long back we are using that online learning system one or another way. In all the fields, learning is going to be taken in an online itself, but we are not going to be done in practically. But it is required some requirements. So you need to have computers, and you need to use some internet, and then you need to check with the application that is going to be learning. So all the features should be there. That is the usage of your online learning. Next, what are the different e-learning types? So online learning, or we can call it as an e-learning: distance learning, digital learning, or virtual learning, virtual education, web-based education, internet-based education, education via computer-mediated communication. Right? Like the different types are available, but suitably e-learning types are called it as in digital learning sometimes, or sometimes distance learning, virtual learning, virtual education, web-based education, internet-based education, or education via computer-mediated communication. So these are just a categorizations or a types that is going to be added for an e-learning types. Okay. What are the requirements should be there? If you want to learn any concept, if you want to learn any technology, or if you want to learn the concept that is not available in present situation, so we can go for an optional as an online learning, right? So what are the requirements should be there? So requirement, as it is specified: system. The system can be your computer, the system can be your laptop, the system can be your mobiles, right? And afterwards you require an application software. Very important. So application software means, if I'm using the Google Cisco WebEx, or if I'm using Google app, or if I'm using any talk applications, or if I'm using a Skype application, if I'm using a team app application, Microsoft Team, so that application has to be, so that is called as an application software. Means that is intended for particular process, that's why it is called it as an application software. Next, as I told, any smart devices, smart device that is going to be supporting your application to run, right? And internet as a global platform, very important, right? So you have system, application software, and any smart device. If you don't have an internet, then obviously it is not considered as an online learning. So minimum requirement for your online learning requires system, application software, any smart devices that will compatible and support for the application software, and again that internet as a global platform. So without internet, the requirement is not going to be fulfilled, or it not going to be completed. Along with this, very importantly, audio, video, computer, and network technologies, right? Because if any faculty or your teacher is going to be teaching, you are going to be checking with an audio, you're going to be checking with an video. So why I'm telling specifically audio video means, if I'm taking a class on a computer related subject, I need to verify whether what I'm teaching is audible to the student. Or if I'm presenting some document or a presentation, then I need to check out whether the screen is visible, that is nothing but a video. And again, that computer and networking technologies. So if I'm taking a class, sometime due to some network congestion or a traffic, so what the data I'm sharing, what the speech I'm giving, sometime it is not audible to the student due to some network disturbance, or due to distance at which the students and the faculty is taking in online, right? Again, that is takes us some drawback in an online learning. But if I have a good network speed and a good mobile application and good audio video compatibility, that online learning is always going to be the best and efficient for a present situation. Next, scope of online learning. What are the different scope in an online learning, right? So in previously, I think all the abroad university and foreign university, they'll be conducting online courses. For example, if any person from India want to get some graduation, so instead of attending the classes regularly, they can take online courses. Or if you want to gain a more knowledge, or if you want to gain a more information, then again you can go for an option as an online courses, right? And different scenarios are there. So one or the other way, you can get the information, and that is the scope of online learning. So there is no limitation, and again it's a dynamic in nature, and again it's an universal. So all informations can be get, and again it is, as I told, it's a centralized system. It is converted into distributed system, right? So there is no centralized system, distributed, the data is distributed globally, and any person can gain the knowledge, and any person can access the data, and everyone is going to become a better and better knowledge gainable person through online learning, right? Now, okay. Online courses, many online universities and institutes have been offering the online courses for the graduation, master studies, and diploma program. Yes, many universities are there online courses. Many institutes are going to be having their online courses. Those who don't have a time and those who want to learn, they can go for this online courses, right? And it's quite beneficial, as a student can learn the subject from the comfort of his home. Again, it is more benefit. So student can learn it from any location, so providing they are having good communication network, and again they are having the good hardware devices, to link with other applications, so everything is going to be matters, right? And further you can take up in the spare time and need not quit their jobs. Means if they're working, as I told you, if they're working, then to enhance their degree, to enhance their knowledge, or to get some promotion, so without wasting the time they can take the online courses, right? And this way of learning helps them to achieve higher educational qualification, and as I told, to get the promotion in jobs it mainly requires. But nowadays it is not restricted only for the employees, or it's not only for the course. Now all education system is converting to online learning, so all the teachers and starts with the nursery school and the colleges, everyone is dependent on online learning. But basically they need to check out which are all the online tools are available, which are all the platforms that are available, and again they need to ensure which tool that is feasible to all the students, which is more comfortable and compatible for all the students, because each one is not having that common devices, each will be having a different devices, each will be staying in different location. So by keeping all the things in mind, so it's a responsibility of an education system to verify which is going to be feasible, efficient, and again we need to check with the security aspects, whether that using a particular application is a secured, or is there any data is going to be grabbed by some other applications. Again we need to check with an security aspects of an application, right? Further, if any person needs to join some course, it is lacking some expertise, then he can take up college prepare course online to get ready for the regular course 100%. If you want some expertise, if that expertise is not available in particular region or particular place, then that person can join for the course, and they can take enhancing the course, and they can also earn more information through an online course. So that is an, again it's an option. Next, advantages of online learning. What are the different advantages of that? So again, it is discussed in the previous slide. Increase flexibility of time, increase flexibility of location, digital information sharing, convenience, enhanced learning, interaction, innovative teaching, improved administration, savings of time along with the traveling, and again maximize physical resources, right? Sometimes disadvantage also call it as a disadvantages sometimes. So increase flexibility of time 100% by sitting or by locating in the particular location without traveling, without going to the college and school, you can learn it. But if you don't have a network, if you don't have updated devices, so that time it will become drawback. So there is an inflexibility, it's not comfortable, right? So we cannot say that it is an advantage, but all the things are perfect, all the things are effect, then we can apply this, we'll call it as an advantages of online learning, right? Next, disadvantages of online learning. So what are the disadvantages will come? As I told in the previous slide, it is not mandatory that everything will be considered as an advantage. Sometimes it will become an in a disadvantage. So enhanced learning. Sometimes the students are understanding, but students are not completing the doubts what they are going to be getting due to some time constraint, or due to there is no real interaction. It is not enhanced learning. So the learning is going to be minimized, right? So it depends on the individual, and it depends on all the factors. I can call this as an advantage. The disadvantage, no humanistic touch, there is no regular interaction, isolation feeling, they'll be in separate region because there is no interaction between their friends, there is no interaction between the faculty and the student, and negative attitudes of parents and teachers, lack of proper knowledge. Means, why the negative attitudes of parents and teachers? Because presently, even the schools and colleges are shifting to online classes, because parents and teachers, they don't have comfort zone, because to parents is going to be teaching the concept, but students, whether they're going to be attending the class, whether going to be listening the class, it's going to be negative impact. And even the students are sitting and they're going to be listening it, and but the concept what the faculty is going to be telling is not going to be 100% same as your real time education. So if they attentive, if they active, then only that feeling should be there to the both parents and teacher, the students or the person is going to be actively attending the classes. Again, it depends on individual, we cannot call it a disadvantage. Again, it depends on the individual how that negative attitudes is going to be applied it for parents as well as teacher. But parents will be thinking students are attending the classes regularly, but they don't know whether listening the class or they're following the classes, because the interaction will be very less. And again, if the strength of the class is more, again it is too difficult. But the thing that online classes, that strength has to be a round off, or strength has to be truncated to specifically 20 to 35 members, because n number of students are there or users are there, it is difficult to track. Even it is difficult in a real time education, We cannot track. That's why that UGC and ACT has given some type of a ratio. So 50 is to 1, 20 is to 1. So for each student, they'll be giving some mentoring. So only that capacity of student has to be there. So then only that education is going to be completing it. The knowledge is going to be shared equally, and we can concentrate. The faculty can concentrate each and every individual, and student can also interact with the faculty with the minimum time, right? And lack of proper knowledge. So proper knowledge will not be there. Some prerequisite should be there to go for online classes, and afterwards, if you want to reply, you need to have some prerequisite knowledge. So lack of proper knowledge should be. So this will be considered as some disadvantage of online learning. Now, what are the tools and softwares are available for online class? As I told, so since this situation, everyone is shifting towards virtual method. Everyone is shifting towards online learning, right? So plenty of tools are available. So just I have listed the few tools that is popularly used by all the technologies applications in all the platforms of IT industry or in the government sector or in the school, colleges, all the field, right? So as I mentioned, Google Meet, Cisco Webex, Microsoft Team, GoToMeeting, Twitch, Whatfix, Raptivity, Talent LMS, eFront, WalkMe, Skillsoft, and so on. Right? But the tools what I listed here, sometimes the tools should register with an official registration followed by you need to pay for a subscription. Right? It is not that all the tools are open source. Open source is nothing but all the tools is not a freely usable. So sometime they'll be giving for trial option for 1 day or a 3 hours or 1 week or a 1 month, but you need to register with your official email ID, right? So specifically the major drawback in online tools or online software is nothing but all tools are not available freely. So sometimes you need to pay for usage of a particular tool, right? So very importantly, these are all the tools that are available. Still many tools are available. Many tools are available, and again it depends on the individual, depends on their requirements. They'll be because some colleges will purchase particular software. So sometimes they'll be purchasing Google Meet for their capacity for renting the class to storing the data, and again to schedule the classes, and again either they'll be go for Cisco Webex or they'll go for Microsoft Team. But all the companies will be using a Microsoft Team in education, in academics like diploma colleges, engineering colleges. So they are preferably going for a Google Meet, Cisco Webex, and again within the Google Meet they are having a Google Classroom and virtual classroom. So where the students is going to be available on the time, they can post the data, they can assign an assignment, and they can give the deadline, and again they need to verify whether students are submitted or not, and everything is going to be in the flexible manner. So that depends on the college and depends on the individual. They'll be getting their own softwares or they'll be working with their own softwares, and again all the softwares plays an important role. All the software is having their own advantages, and but before installing any software, user has to identify the requirements, what all the requirements should be there in the system, and then whether it is a paid software or unpaid software, or whether you are installing the trial ocean software or free software. On each and everything you have to survey, and survey plays an important role. So once if you done a survey, then again next subsequently you need to teach the student, because firstly staff has to identify which is an easiest method of linking the bridge gap between the college with the student, because as of now it is a bridge gap. So all online softwares and tools. So again it is a responsibility of the faculties or the teachers or the students together with along with the parents. They need to ensure which softwares are feasible and comfortable to use, and again once if they know, then faculty has to identify the working principle, how the particular tools can be used, and how to generate a meetings, how to schedule a class, how to schedule an assignments, how to assign an internals, and after evaluation how to send a marks list to the students, and how to get an acknowledgement, and how to display the results. So all the feature has to be added, right? Next, short-term goal of online learning. So very important. What exactly short-term goal? So if I consider any colleges or institution, they will have a vision, short-term goal and long-term goal. But why I'm sharing this short-term goal and long-term goal is that, but even in an education and learning, as an individual, we should keep some short-term goal. We should shift them long term. But now I just modified short term goal and long term goal for student. Instead, I am just taking short term goal and long term goal for online learning, because this online learning giving and complete goal or complete objective is going to be fulfilled. Right? So what exactly the short term goal? What exactly the short term goal defines? Right? So basically, short term goal is a goal that only takes a few days to complete the task, weeks to achieve something, right? And as I told, if your faculty assign an assignment, so they will give minimum 2 days, maximum 1 week. It's a short term goal. You'll be achieving something, right? So if I consider your internal, it's a short term goal. 1 month duration you will be conducting an internal. But if I consider your semester exam, year exam, it's a long term goal, right? In simple term, short term goal of online learning plays an important role, very important. So your daily homework will be short-term goal. Assignment is also a short-term goal. That quality should be there. If I consider either short-term or long-term, quality plays an important role, right? So what I am considering, since it is a semester-based scheme, all the education system, if I place an online learning as a course, if the short-term goal aims to provide 100% result, right? Very important, because if we aim it for 100% result, it is near to your real education. I'm not telling it is always equivalent to real education. Again, that depends on all the parameters, including the training that staff is having, that software that they are using, and the software that students are using, and the way in which they are understanding, and the way in which they are gain the knowledge, and again that outcome, that is your result, right? Everything is going to be matters. And industrial visit for students, very important, because previously within a span like semester wise industrial visit will be there, but as of now it is not a time to go for industrial visit. But through online you can take an industrial visit, that is again it will be considered as a short term goal. So you can take the students what exactly that, if I consider a mechanical branch, so mechanical branch company you can visit it, but in the real time, but as of now it is not possible. And if I take computer science branch as a technical student, so they cannot visit an IT companies, and they can take the video of that. So industrial visit can also be done as a short term through an online courses. And faculty development programs, very important. So faculty can attend the programs like webinars. Even as of now, many colleges, many engineering colleges, diploma college, degree colleges, few colleges are conducting the trainings. So to enhance the skills of the faculties in terms of research oriented, in terms of learning process, to improving their skills or to improving the new technologies, everyone is going to be depending on the faculty development program, right? So that is called it as a faculty development program. Then soft skill training to students, right? So when you're learning, when you're going for a placement, all the colleges will be giving soft skill training, placement training, aptitude trainings, right? The soft skill training students is important. So soft skill training previously will be considering to be happen between the semester, in the vacation time they are planning, and again all the students are going to be getting. But now the soft skill training and placement training, aptitude training has to be given. Next, very important, placement training being conducted. So through online, I think students are completely free, and again the traveling is going to be minimal, and the way in which they can get the information easily. So irrespective of anything, just I'm considering an example of an engineering and diploma students, and keep in mind, so placement training being conducted for 2 hours per week of fourth sem, and 1 hour per week for second sem students, right? So same thing is applicable to engineering also. So you can plan it, and you can provide a placement training, and they can get the training. And once the training is completed, it is benefit for the students to focus on the job and to face how interviews can be handled. So these are all the basic short term goals for a present situation. The placement training also you can conduct through an online, like aptitude test you can conduct, technical training you can conduct, and if you want to give some informations you can give it. So that easy method. So that's why I'm specifying 2 hours, because it's not possible to sit student for continuous long hour, so 3 hours. That's why it is restricted to 2 hours per week. So per week means out of 7 days it will be 2 hours. And again it depends on the level at which students are going to be integrated. So you can give it same type of training for the students who is in 7th semester of engineering, or any person, right? The placement training is also one of the short term goal of your online learning. Next, when it comes to long term goal, as I told, long term goal means it will not takes within 1 week or 1 day, it will take a huge span of time. So either it will take minimum weeks to complete the task, or it will take minimum months to complete a task. Again it depends on your objective, it depends on what exactly you're going to be achieving. So I can take best example is your year exams. Year wise exams are previously, instead of semester we are having year wise exams. So that itself is a long term goal, right? So if I consider long term goal, so firstly I am suggesting national and international conference. Why that conference is considered as a long term goal in an online learning, right? So what we learning in an education, what the syllabus we are learning is always restricted to particular duration, 3 months of course or 6 months of course, right? But when you're planning for a long term goal, conferences, attending the conference in terms of student oriented or in terms of a faculty oriented, it is always going to be useful, right? So always go for long term goal is a national and international conference. Then research center. So I cannot build a research center, I cannot build a technical lab within an 1 week or one span of time. So research center you can build. Again, now it is not possible to visit a research center and same plan has to be imported in your own locations. You can take that online help. So through online learning you'll be taking the help of a research center that is located in a far distance, and again you'll be incorporating that research center in your own locations. Again, research center online learning is also possible. Efficient and effective learning, very important. Means if I want to learn some techniques, if I want to learn some technology, if I want to learn some subject, it's not completing within a short time. So because all the informations in detail, in depth, if you want to learn, means you can keep that as a long term goal. So you need to learn minimum 1 year. So then only that information gaining and information acquiring is going to be more, right? Then making online learning best education to achieve greater success, very important. So you can utilize online learning based education and to achieve the greater success. So to achieve something you can make use of the online learning. So continuous online learning or long usage of online learning, it doesn't mean you will be getting the success, but interest and the dedication and discipline what you are going to be giving it for learning plays an important role. So in simple term, so if you have a discipline, dedication, and again you have very motivated 100%, either a virtual learning method or real learning method, both will have their own advantage and disadvantages. Next, some basic conclusions based on the topic what we are going to be discussing it, right? So learning is vast and endless. 100% learning is vast and endless. There is no restriction, and learning is universe or a set because you can gain the information from any sources. It's not restricted. You can learn it with a particular region. You can learn it with this particular area. It is universe. You can learn it from anywhere. So if you want to learn the mechanical related aspects, you can learn it any location. You will get with an information. If you want to learn computer related, you can get with any location. If you want to learn about electronics, you will get it. If you want to learn about economics, you will get it. If you want to learn about accountancy, you will get it. It's an universe. It's not restricted to particular individual, but individual is having their own knowledge. Individually is having their own knowledges, right? And learning is dynamic in nature, very important. Learning is dynamic in nature, means we can learn the new things in our day by day life. We learn the new things in a day by day life, right? So learning is dynamic in nature, and learning need to be structured. Learning need not to be structured, right? What is learning need not be a structure? Learning need not be structure means it's not like any formal or any format. So you can learn it in any pattern. For example, if you want to learn the two-wheeler vehicle, it is not that each day you have to learn it for 1 hour. It depends. You can take it 20 minutes one day, and again 5 minutes one day, again 1 hour one day. So it's not structured, but it depends on the way how we are going to be incorporating. That is nothing but learning need not be a structure, right? If it comes to education, education is a subset of learning. It's one of the branch. So here we are going to be clarifying, or we are going to be concluding what exactly learning and education. Both are one-to-one correlation, both are linked with each other, but here we are specifically giving education is a subset of learning. Means learning is a superset, and within that learning education comes, right? And education is prompted by extrinsic motivation. So through extrinsic motivation only education is going to be prompting it. But learning is not an extrinsic, it's an intrinsic. That's why we're calling smart student and intelligent student. A smart application and intelligent application, right? It is a technical example I'm giving for a conclusion, smart and intelligence. So sometime we'll be calling a smart student, sometime we'll be calling one of the student as an intelligent student, right? Here some difference is there. So when we'll calling smart, when we'll calling an intelligent. So smart doesn't require any training, but for intelligence requires some training. So same thing, depends on intelligence, depends on training. Learning and education is always going to be gives a greater success, right? And everyone learns, but everyone gets education, right? Very important. Everyone learns, but not everyone gets education. Each and everyone is in the learning process, and again it's a dynamic in nature, it is an ongoing process. But education is not like that. If you're completing your first standard, again you'll be not learning the first standard syllabus, you'll be shifting to second standard. If you completed your engineering second semester, you'll be shifting to engineering fourth semester next year, right? So that's why everyone is in learning process, everyone is going to be learning it. But education, it's not like that everyone should get an education. So it depends, and again it depends on the scenarios, it depends on the environments. Education is going to be completing it, right? Okay, thank you. So today I think we have discussed what is the difference between education and learning, what is the correlation, and what is the present situation that everyone is going to be facing, and what is the main weightages between the two types of education, the real education and online education. But both type of education is having their own advantage and disadvantage, but very importantly, as I told, so each should be taken effectively, but again it depends on individual. The planning should be there, and using the application and all the features plays an important role, right? And it's not like that one application is having benefit and other application is not having benefit. So both is having their own weightages. Online education is also having own weightages, and again that real-time education is also having their own weightages. Again, you need to concentrate on some tools, the tools that are available, and again the mobiles that are going to be supporting, or a laptop that are going to be supporting. Each and everything you are going to be concentrating, right? And overall conclusion, so learning is a knowledge, and it is going to be gained through experience, and education is also knowledge, it is a gained through teaching. So this is a conclusion. I'm taking the session, and thank you for listening, and thank you for that. And in the next session we'll be sending with all the information regarding what are the tools that are available, and what are the online tools that we can use it for online training, and how we can going to be achieve online learning. So all the informations we are going to be discussing it. Thank you, one and all.